前几天有粉丝说让我讲一下 Cardano 这个项目，因为它最近处于这个风暴的中心啊，币价暴跌。很多朋友呢他就想了解这个项目到底还行不行了啊，是不是要归零？所以呢我查了很多的资料，然后我找到了一个视频。那这个博主呢他是一个技术流，也是 Cardano 生态的参与者啊，他讲得非常好。他在视频中呢就回应了 Cardano 最近出现的很多问题啊，比如网传的创始人离开、生态项目倒闭等等啊，他说的非常的中肯。没有任何情绪化的东西，和我了解到的情况较为一致。而且这个博主说 ADA 的价格将会迎来一个强力的反弹，那他为什么要这样说呢？在视频的后半段啊，我也对 Cardano 项目做了一些数据分析。通过以上的内容呢，我们就可以对 Cardano 项目有一个完整的了解啊，以及对它未来币价的走势有一个清晰的判断。OK， 看视频。
We are entering a really tough time in Cardano. It becomes really easier in these times to have your views and perceptions shaken, especially when you see the depleting price, which Cardano is down, ADA is down 32% in the last 7 days, and it's down 18% in the last 24 hours. And there's a whole drama happening around Twitter that we are going to discuss in this video. Now, usually I don't talk about these things. I usually focus more on the important things, not about what debate is happening on Cardano, what Charles is saying, how people are attacking him. I focus more on the technological advancements of Cardano, of ADA. And I have those videos in the pipeline, but while the price is dropping, I think right now people may not appreciate those, that type of content, because I'm talking about the future outlook of ADA. I'm talking about the future advancement of Cardano as a blockchain and as a decentralized network. And what they're focusing on is the current price that is depleting. So I do have to give my input on it, because right now I think we are at the lowest sentiment and we are at the lowest price, I think, in the last 5 years. So let's talk about it. Cardano is down 32%, like I mentioned before. It's down 18% in the last 24 hours. And it's, as you can see from the charts, it's not just Cardano, it's actually the overall market. Now, it is true that Cardano, ADA, it is dropping more than the rest of the cryptocurrencies. Ethereum is down 18%, BNB is down 8%, XRP is down 15% in the last 7 days. We have Solana that is down 21%. So they are all reporting 10 to 20% decrease in the last 7 days because they are all following Bitcoin that is down 16%. But Cardano is down 31%. We also have Zcash that is down 45%. We also have Bitcoin Cash that is down 28%. But in the case of Zcash and other tokens that are down more than 30% or more than 20%, there are other factors involved. Now, in the case of Zcash, they did have an outage. They, at a point that the network stopped producing blocks, and there are rumors and news of maybe counterfeit Zcash tokens being printed. And we also had all these outages for Sui. Cardano doesn't have anything fundamentally breaking. It's just the Twitter drama that is the cause behind this massive drop, which is really, in a way, disappointing. So here's what's happening. And here's the reality of these things that we have to understand. And I think at this point, this is something that Charles, the founder of Cardano, the CEO of Input Output, he have to understand these things. Now, I don't go against Charles' vision. I think he is a visionary person, and he is, I think he is the right person for this job. I think he always has been, but he does have problems. And the major problem that I'm noticing right now is he takes things to Twitter. He drops his level down to to those people that are bashing him, that are, in a way, that are rage baiting him, and he actually falls for those rage baits, which is actually what they want. So he's actually giving it to them. He doesn't have to respond to these people who are making posts about it on Twitter. I mean, he is a famous personality. Of course, there will be people that will go against him. This isn't something new. He has been going through it for years now. But Charles has this problem of dropping down to that level and engaging in these one-on-one duels with the person that nobody even knows. But the problem is people know Charles, and they take his words out of context just to clickbait, just to get more attention. And here's a reality of it. And here's a very quick example. At one point, Charles said that running Cardano is a huge privilege. But man, this job is killing me lately. because it's really pressuring. This job isn't easy. So that is the full context. He says working for Cardano is a privilege, but this job is difficult. There's a lot of pressure involved. And he said this job is killing, which is a normal phrase that we all say. And the news outlets and all these Twitter profiles, they will start posting, Charles says Cardano is killing him. Is this the end of Cardano? Is he about to quit? These are the sort of news that you are going to see after this. And that is what's actually happening here. They take his words out of context, and Charles has this habit of making videos and doing live streams, and these are not scripted. He's not using a prompt. He's saying things, on the go, and it becomes really easy to take words out of context and post them on Twitter to get more attention, to get more engagement, and that is not working out for Cardano at the moment. So we have all these news that there's going to be a wave of failures in the ADA ecosystem, says Hoskinson. So they're pointing out the waves of failures, where Charles said that we are in a difficult time, in the overall market, not in Cardano, in the overall market, because the altcoin prices, they're dropping, the TVLs are dropping, the on-chain activity and the number of transactions, they are dropping, which of course directly affects a chain's revenue. It affects the sentiment, and it becomes really difficult for dApps to survive this difficult time. So he said that in a general context. We had the NFT marketplace JPG Store that closed down, that is closing down, and recently TapTools, which is the leading on-chain analytics tools and platforms, they have decided to shut down, which if you take a look at their reasons, of course, the pricing and the overall low on-chain activity that we talked about, of course, and that has a huge impact on it. But the reason that they highlighted is they had these two co-founders, their CDO and CEO, that left the platform. It was their backend developer that stepped into the CDO position, but now that CDO is also moving on. So it becomes really difficult because they don't have the technical expertise to be able to run this platform at this scale. And that is the major reason that they highlighted, is that the people have left the platform, and they don't have the technical expertise to be able to run it. And the next reason that they gave is that they have a lot of cost, the development cost and the infrastructure cost, the management cost, and it's not being sustainable at the moment, especially given the market that we are in. People don't see the full news. What they hear is this is a platform that is closing down because they are not sustainable. The reality is, it's not because of Cardano. It is because of the overall market, the overall economic, conditions that we are in. Moreover, we're getting other news. Recently, Charles said, which I can pull up right here. I'm not sure where I have that tweet, but he simply said that I'm taking a break. Talk to you later. Now, he had to jump back and say that I'm not leaving, because when he said this, I'm taking a break, he meant all the Twitter feuds and conflicts and all the Twitter drama. He wants to give that a break. And of course, people took that out of context as well. We had people saying, even Cointelegraph coming in, Cardano founder Charles Hoskinson says he's taking a break. And that's all they said with a picture of Charles. No context involved, no reason why he's leaving. And people don't jump into these things. They don't check the details. What they're saying is the founder of Cardano is leaving. And that's all they're getting from this news, which of course has a huge impact on the sentiment around Cardano, which already is at its lowest. And in this tweet, this person is saying Charles is considering the nuclear option, burn down Cardano and launch a new chain, proof of burn. Again, if you take a look at if you listen to the entire video, not even just this 31 seconds, if you take a look at, if you hear the entire video, you actually understand the complete context about these things, about the governance drama, about the governance issues that we are having. And once you understand, you actually realize that we don't actually have a problem. We don't have anything fundamentally breaking, like the network stalling or having outages or having exploits or hacks. We don't have any of that. The only problem that we have is Cardano governance is too perfect. We have a privilege that other chains don't have, and that is causing a problem, because other chains, if you talk about Ripple, if you talk about Ethereum, when they have to make a decision, when they have to go forward with, let's say, having their own summit, having their own events, do they ask their community? Do their community have the right to vote on whether Ethereum uses millions of dollars to fund those summits. They don't have that privilege. They don't ask. They just take decisions and the community is happy with that. What we have is a true governance where the community have the right, have the privilege to vote on whether this, summit happens, whether this event happens or not, and whether the funds from the treasury are released or not. This is a true governance and it's a privilege. But the problem is this is slowing down the process of, innovation, because at a time when the price of ADA is low, which not just ADA, every altcoin's price is low, dApps becomes more inclined on rejecting proposals. We had this amazing proposal from Input Output for Pogon, which I have no idea how was it rejected. It shouldn't have been rejected. I don't get paid by anyone. So if I'm saying that this proposal should not have been rejected, I really mean it. And if you take a look at the entire proposal, you will notice that it was the perfect proposal and the treasury would have benefited a lot from it, but it was rejected. And now the timeline is pushed. They have to go for, they have to look for other investments to be able to fund the project to go forward. And even before that, they had to take a lot of time to, create the proposal. They had to wait for the voting and the whole process. And now it's rejected, so I have to find others. All of this time, these are months being wasted. So this is slowing down the process. And what Charles is saying is he don't have any control. He's just like anyone else here. It's the community that has the power, that has the controls, that has the keys, not Cardano Foundation, not Input Output, not Charles, not any of the entities. And that is the problem. Everyone expects Charles to do something. They put out proposals, they get rejected, and then he gets blamed for the price dropping, which, I think most of us can understand the frustration there. So that is the problem that we have. Nothing fundamentally breaking. There are no infrastructure issues. We're working pretty perfectly, better than any other chain. The problem is that we have governance that is too perfect, that is slowing down the process. And that's the only issue that we have. And because of this, because of the recent drama, everyone is, all the haters of Cardano, of ADA, now is their time to, make noise, to add fuel to the fire, to bring Cardano down further. And that is actually what's happening. All those people who were dormant has now an excuse to jump back up, to, take out their previous grievances. And that is exactly what's happening. The prices of altcoins are dropping and you are adding fuel to the fire to drop the coin even further. So right now, as I said, this is the most difficult time that we are in. But I would say just mark my words, ADA will rebound and it will rebound harder than ever, because now ADA has become really cheap. Before it was at about 25 to 26 cents just 1 or 2 weeks ago. Now it is at 16 cents. It is really cheap. And given that what we have coming up next, not just in the next year, but within this year, I think it is going to rebound really hard. As of course, it cannot do that outside of the market. It will do that when the market recovers as well, which at the moment, if you take a look at the chart, you actually get the full context. This is the same Bitcoin chart that you're saying and the same chart that you're saying for Cardano. So it's not like Cardano is dropping while all the other altcoins are rallying. They're all dropping at the same time, but it's dropping more violently because of all these, all this drama that is happening and people taking words out of context, not providing the full context. And they are, that is the market that we are living. That is the social media that we currently have, where we have CoinDoor saying Cardano founder Charles Hoskinson said he is taking a break. Now, the irony here is Charles doesn't have any control. He doesn't have any special powers that he can use to bring Cardano back up. But he is the face of Cardano. He is the one person that is in a way linked to Cardano, just like we have Brad Garlinghouse for Ripple, or we have Brian Armstrong for Coinbase. So we have these one identity that is linked to linked to a network or a project, and he is that person. But the problem is this person doesn't have a control. He doesn't have any special powers, so he doesn't have the full control of power, but he does have influence. Things he says on Twitter, they have impact on Cardano. So you have this centralization in a decentralized overall network that works on governance, but you don't have that decentralization when it comes to Charles Hoskinson. And that is something that he personally have to realize, that things he says have a direct impact on Cardano and on the ADA's price. But I mean, he does have his weaknesses. He gets rage baited pretty easily. So that is the current drama that we have happening. Stop listening to the noise. We are in a difficult time, but we will recover pretty soon. Just keep yourself away from all that drama, and that is all I can say for now.
在进入这个数据分析之前呢，我们需要先来了解两个概念啊。第一个就是 SPO， 就是 Stake Pool Operator， 权益池运营商。那 SPO 呢，它其实就是 Cardano 网络的矿工，他们提供全天运行的全节点服务器，维护网络底层的物理运行，负责收集网络上的交易并打包成区块。第二个 DREP 就是去中心化代表或者叫链上议员，任何社区的成员啊，不管你是一个技术极客啊，还是意见领袖啊，甚至说你就只是一个普通的用户，那你都可以注册成为一个 DREP， 就是链上的议员。那当然 SPO 啊也可以成为一个链上的议员。链上议员不需要购买和运行服务器，但是呢，链上议员你必须要具备对这个区块链的发展、财务预算或者对技术体验的分析能力。那链上议员它的核心的职责啊有几项，第一个呢就是国库的预算审批。那在这个 Cardano 这个生态里面呢，你任何的团队啊，你想要从这个国库拿到钱做项目，那你必须要写一个提案啊，向国库进行申请，然后呢，由这些链上的议员投票决定是否拨款。第二个，他们可以投票决定这个网络的核心参数的变更，比如调整这个网络的手续费的高低。那第三个就是节点议员要代表这个散户去投票，普通的用户没有精力去读或者压根就看不懂那些几百页的专业的技术提案，所以呢，他们就会将自己手里的这个投票权委托给他们信任的这个链上议员，由这些链上议员呢带他们去进行投票。成为链上议员的本质它其实就是让你从一个普通的代币持有者变成了能够影响这条公链命运的一个规则的制定者。它带来的是实际的回报、权利和影响力。比如你可以拿到这个治理的工资，可以投票决定国库的拨款和这个网络参数的修改，还意味着你可以在社区之中建立自己的影响力增加自己在整个生态里面的话语权，这个其实是非常重要的一点。那接下来呢，我们就会看一些比较重要的数据第一个就是 ADA 的质押分析。这张图呢，上面黄色的柱状线是全网所有质押池里面锁定的 ADA 的绝对的数量，浅蓝色这条线呢，它代表的是质押的 ADA 的数量占当前市场总流通量的百分比，也就是我们平常说的质押率。那我们从这张图上可以看出来，Cardano 网络的质押率长期保持在 60% 到 70% 左右的高位。那这么高的质押率它意味着这个网络有一个极强的安全的壁垒因为这个 Cardano 网络呢，它采取的是 POS 机制这个跟以太坊是同样的机制。那也就是说呢，大部分的 ADA 都被这个长期主义者托管在节点中赚取利息，而不是放在交易所里面呢随时准备砸盘。图上的这条绿色的线，它代表的是全网参与了这个质押的独立钱包的总数。从这个图表中我们可以看出来，这一条绿线呢，在开始的时候它非常低随后呢快速的攀升，然后就进入了一个相对平稳的周期。其实呢，从这张图上我们来看，现在呢它还在呈现一个缓慢增长的态势。这说明 Cardano 的散户和持币的用户基数在过去的这几年内呢是在不断的增大的而且呢大家都在很积极的把自己的币做了一个原生的质押。通过以上这张图呢，我们就可以看出来，从2023年开始，全网的这个质押率它保持了一个长期的稳定波动性很小，而且呢质押率达到了流通量的 60% 以上，这是一个非常高的比例即便是最近 ADA 价格的暴跌也并没有导致这个质押率的暴跌，那就说明这个生态中的长期主义者对网络的信心是很足的。而且这个绿线所代表的这个钱包数量它还在缓慢的上升，那就说明其实新用户是在增多的。下一个数据我们看一下这个 stake pool count， 就是这个质押池的数量。图上黄色的线它表示的是已经注册的节点的数量目前是有2709个。蓝色的线呢，表示的是负责出块的这个活跃节点的数量目前是有973个，这个其实还是挺多的 而且我们从这个图上也可以看出来，这两个数据啊都在很长的时间里面都保持了稳定。那么这就说明卡尔达诺网络的去中心化的程度啊是很高的，而且这个生态的稳定性啊也很好。下一个数据啊就是 average stakes， 就是平均质押数量，绿色的这条线 average delegation 就是平均每笔委托的额度，它的含义是平均每个独立的钱包地址质押的挨打的数量。这个指标呢，在网络的初期啊，它处于一个极高的位置啊，然后呢，出现了一个急速的下滑，并且在后半段变得平稳了。那么这个数据呢，它其实说明这个网络的参与者在变多，而且代币呢，并没有大规模的集中在少数人的手里面。这恰恰是卡尔达诺网络去中心化程度高的表现。因为在这个网络刚刚诞生的时候呢，参与质押的主要是 LG 官方基金会，还有极少数的这个顶级的巨金大户，所以呢，平均到每个钱包的这个持币量它就会很大。然后呢，随着这个时间的推移啊，有成百上千，然后到了现在百万级的这个普通的散户啊，小微持有者，他就进入了这个生态。然后呢，他们都是用这个几百几千枚的这个挨打的小钱包来参与质押，那这就导致呢，这个钱包的总数啊它变大了，然后就将这个人均质押额这个数值拉低了。我们其实可以把这个区块链想象成是一个城市啊，那这个代币它代表的就是这个城市里面的地块，它不但代表了这个财产权啊，它还代表了这个投票权。所以呢，持有者越多，说明呢，想要在这个城市里面定居的人就多，那他们都看好这个城市的发展，治理的去中心化程度也就高。那这也说明这个城市啊，它现在处于一个良性发展的状态。好，我们再看下一个数据啊，是链上议员的委托数据分析。这张图上的这个横轴，它代表的是卡尔达诺的时间周期啊，每个周期是5天。纵轴它就代表的是这个挨打的质押的总量。图上的这条浅蓝色的这个线啊，它代表的是一个全网的总委托投票权的增长的一个趋势啊，那就说明呢，越来越多的这个挨打的持有者，他们开始参与了这个链上的投票。所以呢，从图上我们就可以看出来，这条线呢，它呈现了一个稳步上升啊，然后到现在逐渐趋于平稳的一个状态。其实呢，它现在还是在缓慢的增长。黑色的这条线啊，它代表的是活跃的链上议员的总量，现在也是比较平稳啊。绿色的这条线呢，它代表的是弃权的挨打的总量。在卡尔达诺的治理中呢，用户可以只选择质押它的代币，然后赚取这个收益，但是呢，我不参加链上治理。这些代币呢，它就会被标记为是弃权的状态。图表中的这个绿线的位置很高啊，那就说明这个生态中啊，其实有非常大比例的这个资金，它参与了这个代币的质押，但是它没有参与这个链上的委托治理。当然，它更没有把这个代币转到这个中心化交易所去出手。好，下一个数据啊是链上议员平均值分析啊。图上蓝色这条线啊，它的意思是平均每个链上议员他获得的委托人的数量，那一个钱包地址就代表一个委托人。图上这个蓝线啊，从左到右，它呈现出了一个平稳上升的趋势。那这就意味着呢，随着时间的推移，普通的这个挨打持有者参与治理的意愿在增强。那这个数据呢，跟我们前面那个数据也是做了一个呼应啊。第二个就是图上这个黑色的线啊，它表示的是平均每个链上议员账户下拥有的这个挨打的委托的总量，就是一共有多少挨打被委托给了这个链上议员。那我们在上一个图表上啊，就是链上议员委托分析啊那张图表，我们也看到了链上议员的数量是保持了一个缓慢增长的趋势。所以呢，这3个数据放在一起啊，我们就可以看出来，这个生态的参与者的数量它其实是在增长的。第3个啊，就图上黄色的这条线，它表示的含义是既是 SPO 又是链上议员的这些节点它所拥有的总投票权的百分比。这条黄线啊，它这个走势啊，其实非常的关键啊。它在这个图表的最左侧，处于一个极高位，然后一路就急剧下滑，然后到了现在，它就平躺在这个图表的最底部啊。这个线的这个走势呢，是什么意思呢？它意思就是说，在这个卡尔达诺这个生态治理刚刚开放的时候啊，这个普通的用户他们并不知道要把这个他们手里的这个 AIDA 就是这个投票权委托给谁。在整个生态里面呢，有很多这个早期的 SPO， 对吧？就是这些节点运营矿工啊，他们可能在刚开始的时候比较有名气啊，他们也有很多的粉丝，所以呢，这些普通的用户啊，他们就把他们的 AIDA 就委托给了这些链上的议员。那么后来呢，随着这个整个网络的成熟，这个黄色的线就开始急剧的下降，那说明呢，矿工和链上议员的这个重合度它开始进行分离了。在这个时候呢，就是有大量的这个非 SPO 的纯政治代表啊、社区意见领袖啊、技术极客呀，他注册成为了这个链上的议员，然后就分流了很多这个选票。这也正是卡尔达诺网络它所追求的一个结果，就是防止这些 SPO 呢 同时垄断链上的这个立法和国库的这个投票权，那也就实现了整个网络的一个去中心化。通过以上的这些分析呢，结论就是Cardano 这个项目的它基本面确实没有出现什么问题更谈不上归零只是因为呢生态发展现在遇到了一些波折，叠加现在市场整体的不景气带来的一个短暂的阵痛，导致这个币价大幅的下跌。当然这个里面不排除有很多人故意打压币价做空的这个嫌疑但是呢我们别忘了ADA 现在的市值还有60多亿美金，它在公链里面它排第10整个市场里面呢它排第18。不过呢我还是要说一句Cardano 的生态建设它真的是需要加一把劲了。如果你觉得你的 ADA 的持仓现在有压力那说明你的仓位过重了你可能需要重新平衡你的整体的仓位。那我觉得杠铃策略是一个不错的选择。OK， 以上就是本期视频的所有内容。如果你觉得视频有帮到你麻烦你帮我点赞、评论、转发、关注，并打开小铃铛，这能帮助我持续制作更多的优质内容。OK， 我们下个视频见，拜拜。